Hi, I'm Roy Sonne. Welcome to the School of Violin Artistry. In this video, we begin our exploration of etudes with one of my very favorites, the Etude number 3 by Mazas. Recapping very briefly, why do we study etudes? There are 4 big reasons. 1. To solidify a specific technical issue. 2. To build fluency with the musical language. 3. To cultivate our knowledge of the fingerboard and to associate musical patterns with violinistic ones. 4. To build our artistry, musically and violinistically. An etude is a piece of music. Among the various etude collections, the Mazas etudes are outstanding because of their great musical value. They have phrases which need to be shaped. They need to be played with style, with beauty, with sensitivity, with moods, with contrasts, with emotion, and with drama. This is all part of your training as a violinist, as an artist of the violin. The first technical issue in this etude is the bow stroke. For my taste, the most stylish and elegant way to play this is with a colle bow stroke. Colle. So, before we start the actual etude, let's first establish the colle, starting with the basic placing and raising of the bow at the frog. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Establishing the flexibility of the fingers and the wrist. Now, we add the absolute minimum of horizontal bow motion, maybe just 1 millimeter. Just enough to produce a sound. It should sound almost like a pizzicato, with the same kind of free resonance after the bow leaves the string. In fact, you can try alternating between pizzicato and arco. In order to match the sound, as we go from string to string, we very sensitively adjust for the different response of each string. Now we can add some bow length and let the arm participate. Prepare, play, prepare, play, prepare, play, prepare, play, prepare, play. Keep the bow close to the string between the notes. We're always striving for a clean click at the beginning of each note. And a resonant continuation. With a staccatissimo quality. Don't let the notes moan like this. Or grunt like this. The bow speed is very fast, so the sounding point needs to be closer to the fingerboard than you might think. Here's an insight that I learned recently from Todd Ale, otherwise known as Professor V. In his wonderful YouTube video on the colle, he talks about the touch and go approach. As soon as the bow touches the string, it should start moving. We don't put the bow on the string and wait like this. No, touch and go. Touch and go. Already, before we even start the etude, we're dealing with sound and style. We're not just dealing with the mechanism of playing. The colle has personality. It has elegance and verve. We are in the realm of violin artistry. So, now we can plug in our elegant zippy colle bow stroke into the etude. The next thing that needs our attention is the 16th note figure. It needs to fit right into the tempo and the style and the dynamic level that we've established so that we have a coherent musical phrase. Too often I've heard students do something like this. Or this. So, be ready to bring your sensitivity and musical sense to bear on this Mazas Etude. Just as you would in a Bach concerto, this is part of musicianship and also part of artistry. In order to achieve this, I urge you to practice this etude with a metronome. My tempo would be about 104. This will help you not only to achieve steadiness of the tempo, it'll help you to build your artistry. Our goal is to achieve grace and elegance within the tempo. One note in this etude that needs to depart from the tempo in order to sound musical. Ending the phrase elegantly and expressively within the tempo. In measure 16, observe the bowing and do it elegantly. The separate 16th note gets only the tiniest bit of bow length. Starting in measure 18, we have some double stops. The quality of the colle should stay the same. No forcing on the double stops. The next section is an exercise in elegant phrasing achieved by skillful use of the bow. Down bow on the second beat so that I can lift the bow elegantly at the end of each phrase. So each time the last note gets only a small amount of bow and then the bow continues its up bow motion in the air. Don't play the last note with an accent like this. Each one-measure phrase needs to be rounded off. Here at measure 29, it's a little different, because the phrase ends with a quarter and not an eighth, and also because this time the scale goes upwards. So we can use the original bowing with a crescendo on each upward scale. But never with a bump or an accent on the last note. Don't do this. The last note is a continuation of what came before. next section. I'm very fond of this. It has no particular technical issue. It's about musicianship and about artistry. Musicianship in this context means playing the rhythmic patterns precisely, observing all the bowings and articulations, and doing all that in the framework of a steady tempo. Artistry is about doing all that with grace and elegance, about giving the phrases shape, about finding a tone quality that expresses the musical feeling of the moment, and using your bow with sensitivity to the phrasing and the style. Once you have gotten acquainted with the notes, I urge you in particular to practice this section with a metronome. The tempo is 104, the same as the beginning. Make sure that the dotted 8/16 figure is legato. Not like this. And also that the 16th is fast and elegant. Like this. Feel the rhythm in your fingers in the left hand. You can round off the phrases like this. Staying with the right with the metronome. Measure 43, you can take a small breath after the F, and then the 16th notes are an upbeat to what comes next. And of course, this can happen right with the metronome. Maintain the quality of the colle. Don't let it get lazy. Going on. Use an extension fingering like this. One, two, four. Again, 1, 4. So we're creeping from 3rd position to 4th and then to 5th. Without moving the arm. Here's another extension. And finishing with verve and elegance, not to mention good tone quality and intonation.